Thank you.
Not so official, but we can applaud.
Thank you very much. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for all of you guys coming today here. One of the feedback I normally get from my audience and my wife too is I talk too fast. So if you feel that I'm talking too fast, please let me know. I'll slow down. I've been in San Francisco and California for a long, long time. I'm in the AI world for a few years, and every time I go and speak in a conference, people ask me, can you predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months and 1 year and 2 years? So whenever someone talks about predictions, I remember a fantastic story. Are you guys interested to listen to a story? You like stories? Yeah, my wife hates stories. I said, don't tell me stories anymore. There's a fantastic professor by name Professor Philip Tetlock in United States. He used to teach University of California, Berkeley for a while, and then now he's teaching in Wharton University. Between 1983 and 2000, that's almost 20 years, for 20 years, he did a little bit of a research, and he actually wanted to find out all the expert predictions made by the so-called experts, how good are they? So he tracked 284 experts over a period of 20 years, and he tracked almost 28,000 predictions made by these experts. And when I say experts, I'm talking about these people who appear on the televisions, on the radios, and talking about, oh my God, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And he actually went back and checked. The summary, he wrote a book too, that was actually a New York bestseller for a while. And the summary of that research is, the more expert you are, the less accurate your predictions are. With that, I'll want to make a few predictions of my own about AI, what's going to happen, and I'll talk about a bunch of things. You can always interrupt me anytime if you have any questions, and let me check first these things are going to work. Yes, this works, this works, this works, that's me. Someone asked me, you got to get a picture. I used to have a picture with a t-shirt. They said, no, that's no more a nice picture, you got to get a thing. So I bought one, yeah, and then got a picture done, and I still don't tuck my shirt, and my wife says, why don't you tuck your shirt? I said, no, that's fine. Anyway, AI is transforming so much, and it's impacting every activity. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to even predict what's going to happen in future. And the business models are getting so much affected, the common sense ideas also are no more holding water. And I'll give an example for that. Let's play a little bit of a game. Imagine today is the year 1995, and you are making a prediction about what's happening in 2010. Okay? You're all experts. Let's say you're all economists. Yeah? Or if not economists, at least let's say you're all experts in your respective area. And I'm going to be telling about two different products, and I want you to tell me which product is going to be successful by the time it's 2010. Okay? This is 1985. And both are same products, similar products, but by two different companies. And the products are encyclopedia. The first product, the company announced, a massively rich company, Microsoft, announced today that we are going to start to create an encyclopedia. We are going to be hiring all professional writers and qualified people. We're going to pay them a lot of money. We will have project managers, highly qualified, motivated project managers who are Microsoft employees who are going to be overseeing this project. Bill Gates himself publicly announced that they are going to do this. It's called Encarta. They want to bank on the credibility of the company on Encarta, and they think Encarta is going to make a tremendous impact. It was done not just using textual information, but there were a lot of audio and video information, a bunch of links. It was provided in a CD, and people are going to be tremendously happy. Instead of just reading an encyclopedia book, you'll be using a computer-based CD. Okay, that's product number one. The other product, some unknown company, a non-profit company, is going to make an encyclopedia. They're going to look for volunteers. They're not going to verify those people's credentials. Anyone can write on any topic for any amount. No one is going to do a Q&A on it. There's no program managers. No one is getting salaries. No one is getting a single penny. And we're not making any money out of that because it's going to be free. And the company doesn't have enough popularity in itself. Which company I'm talking about? Wikipedia. So if it is 1995, actually Wikipedia came a couple of years later when Microsoft announced. If this is 1995, and if I'm asking you, okay, in 2010, which company or which product is going to be super successful? What would be your prediction? Use the regular common sense. You might already know what really happened, but just use your regular common sense in terms of which of the two products is going to be super successful. You would imagine the product Encarta would be super successful. In 2009, Microsoft officially announced that they are discarding Encarta. But even today, Wikipedia, lots and lots of people actually go refer to Wikipedia. Yes, once in a while you find information not be complete or accurate in Wikipedia, but many times if I don't understand anything, even once in a while when my wife yells at me, I don't understand what it is, I go check Wikipedia what it is. But Wikipedia has become that all pervasive. So the point I'm trying to make is, the regular business models which are being used and consumed in your regular organizations, you may not be able to use the same common sense when it comes to AI. But let's talk about a few examples. Now, many countries, economies, the GDP is getting affected because of AI. Almost sometimes twice, the growth rate is going to be twice than the regular if you use AI, and every country is using it. For that matter, I was talking to an expert gentleman the other day in San Francisco. They said everyone thinks United States is the leading country in using AI. Can you guys guess which other country seems to be actually better than AI in terms of investments? China is investing 30 times more money in AI. In a couple of years from now, 2020, 2021, I would rather prefer to go live in China. Not in the United States, not in Helsinki. Because if you are an AI expert, if you are a person trying to learn AI and do something AI, you will find a very fertile ground in China. But anyway, I know I'm being recorded. I'm going to be careful about what I'm going to say. But that's what it is. And also, if you look into the research done by McKinsey, I'm going to check the laser. Yeah, okay. The McKinsey report. By the way, all my slides have links at the bottom. One of the things a professor told me a long time ago, how to be more effective in presenting. They said, have some information at the bottom. The other people will be forced to take the phones out and take pictures. So if you just are curious to take pictures, please go ahead and take pictures, because there are links, and if you really want to get more information out of that, you can do that too. But look at some of the leading indicator sectors which are investing in AI, and of course there are lot of industries which are focusing on AI, and they seem to be getting a tremendous benefit of doing it. Gartner publishes hype cycles. If you guys have not heard of it, if you have not read it, I think it would be a fantastic opportunity to go back and read about what are these hype cycles. And they publish hype cycles not just in in every technology, and there is a hype cycle called emerging technologies. And I've written a blog in 2016 about all the hype cycles, and I wanted to check how accurate are these hype cycles. Remember I talked about predictions? So I went back and checked from 2001 to 2016. I collected all the hype cycles and then verified from 2001 to 2010, and then went and verified in 2011, 12, 13, 14, they all came true or not. Surprisingly, many of them actually came true. And if that is true, you may want to focus on, in the peak, deep learning, machine learning, autonomous vehicles. AI is in the peak. If an organization is not adopted AI yet, I have a prediction about that too. In 3 years from now, if you are an HR person, finance person, engineering person, or it could be executive, whoever you are, if you don't know what AI is, if you don't understand a little bit of intricacies of AI, if you're not adopted AI in your regular organization, if you have not started using AI-based products yet, there's a very high probability someone else is going to be getting your job. That's again my prediction, by the way. And the in the if you map the hype cycles to crossing the chasm, in almost 30 years ago, Jeffrey Moore wrote a fantastic book called Crossing the Chasm, and he talked about early adopters and late adopters, and then what's the biggest chasm companies have or individuals have. And right now, many companies are bothered or worried about how to cross this chasm of, yes, a lot of innovators have created AI techniques, AI frameworks, and evidence for AI, but the early adopters are having problems, and some of the problems are because of lack of talent. I'm going to talk about some examples about what AI can do, and there's one example that really attracted my attention. There are companies which are, and you can check the papers there at the bottom. You can have a chatbot which becomes your personal therapist. Now, this may not be the case in Europe, but at least in America, there are a lot of people who have a little bit of a need for therapists, and chatbots, I think, are going to help there. In Germany, I think companies have figured out 40% more bankable customers. In the United States, when you get a loan, there are multiple factors, but one factor is the credit score. And if you don't have a good credit score, you normally don't get a good loan. But using AI, you can actually find people who would pay your money back, even though they don't have a good track history on different factors. But AI can help you relook at that. If you're a publishing organization, there are so many things you can do in AI. You can expand into multiple geographies, or you can actually translating your stuff into different language, and so many things. And I'm not going to read all of these, the bullets. If you have any specific questions, I can talk. But again, the reason I have so much of text in my slides, even though it's against the good presentation techniques, I was talking to Linda just a few minutes ago on how you should make a good presentation. You should have a couple of bullets and not too many. But again, the reason is so that you will lift your hands and take pictures again. That'll keep you active too. The most common AI implementation, especially in the financial services world, is detecting fraud. And actually, I can tell you a story a little bit there. Someone told me, for fraud detection, if you want a 99% accurate model without making any effort, there is a very easy technique for that. I was excited. I said, you can get something done without even making an effort. I said, because the data which you get is so uneven. Normally, if you have millions of transactions happening in credit card, only a very, very few are fraud transactions. So if you have 99% accurate the data which is non-fraud, and less than 1% is a fraud data, and if you actually make a model work on that, you don't need actually a model for that. You can just make all transactions to be non-fraud, and you're going to be only inaccurate by only 1% because the data itself is 1%, which is actually a stupid way of developing an AI model. But I'm saying, and fraud detection too, there's a lot of AI happening. You can predict what will be the outcome of a therapy. Again, I'm picking up a therapy thing is because I think it's in the United States. It's a very nice happening area. So if you are anyone of you is getting trained to become a therapist, I think you should move to United States. There's more business there. Okay, take a second and look at this slide. Georgia Tech University in the United States have developed an AI model that can understand the language of chickens. You may ask me, what's the use case there? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you have a pet chicken, maybe you can talk. But I brought it here just to show the capability of AI. There will be soon AI models which will help you talk to your pets, maybe. Or it can even talk. You can understand complicated language. It can even understand some languages where the audio recording is not complete. And that gives me, reminds me of amount of progress made in image processing. In 2015, Microsoft published a research paper, and they were competing in a contest, image processing contest. Their model, their AI model, that is image processing model, was more accurate than a human being. and the error rate of their model was 3.6%, whereas regular human beings make errors between 5 to 6%. What does that mean? That means if I give you 100 pictures of, let's say, cats and dogs and cars and whatever, human beings, on an average, a human being cannot guess what's in at least 5 pictures, whereas the model can identify or make an error only 3.6% of the time. Now, what is the interpretation? And the reason I'm bringing it up to you guys, because you may not know this, and I want you to caution you, all of you guys. The model can actually know what's in the picture, even though you cannot see with a naked eye. So next time when you're sending any of your pictures, which you don't want other people to see, and thinking, oh, yeah, I'm sending it with encryption, no one can see it, remember there are some models, AI models, which I actually can see. So don't send any of those damaging pictures online. So the models can figure out what you're sending. Anyway, on the other extreme, you can, if you are working in an organization which is a creative organization, you want to really get new names for any of your products, you actually can get trendy beer names, new paint colors and paint names, design Halloween costumes. Look at you can even create kitchen recipes, Star Wars characters, Star Wars plane names, Broadway musicals. Any amount of actually all of this was done by one PhD student in United States. She was working in AI, and on her free time, she started developing AI models which actually can create all of these things. You actually can have new messages in your fortune cookies. So next time you don't have to say, oh, you're going to have a good day today. No, it'll be a little more creative in giving you a nice message so that you'll enjoy your lunch too. Anyway, in terms of image processing models, it actually can predict what's happening. I was speaking in a conference the other day about smart cities. And you might have heard of the concept of smart cities. Many countries are trying to adopt, many companies are developing applications and systems. If you want to predict what's happening on the street level using a video camera, you can do that. Nowadays, the models can figure out. You can even ask questions to the model. Model can answer your questions. You can draw a picture of a bird or whatever, and you can have a bot that can do for you. If you're a doctor, a radiologist especially, you can have an AI model look at your x-rays and tell what exactly happening there. So you can have your productivity go up. AI engineers, when we talk about image processing, and especially in the healthcare situation, we are extremely careful. We never say AI is going to replace the doctor, because then we will not get venture capital funding. We always say it's going to enhance the capability of the doctor, and hence we get funding. So, but this, if you look into this picture and the research there, AI models can more accurately predict what's happening in your lungs, in your bones, and all of that stuff. Look at the picture at the top here, and look at the picture of this. Machine created. Look at the hair and maybe I think there's no wrinkles on the face, but the nose and the eyes and the eyebrows and the lips, and I think even the cheekbones, and how perfect. And this picture, all these pictures are created by a machine. Of course, in this case, NVIDIA was doing it, and they took almost 18 days to create this, but you have AI models creating human beings. I have a different picture. I don't have it today, but there are 5 to 6 pictures of human beings, and the contest was to detect which of these pictures are human created or human pictures and which are artificially touched. And it is very difficult even nowadays to find the difference between a real human being and a picture created by a human being, by a machine. AI is everywhere. It's already there with you. You're already using AI. If you have a smartphone, if you're using a laptop, there's every probability that you're already touching AI activities. And the organization, if you're an organization, if you're trying to get AI as a labor substitution, or are you trying to do any of these things? My money is on this side. I think if you should always trying to look for revenue enhancement, more customer satisfaction, better margins, better prediction of the supply chain, whatever. That's where the implementation capabilities are, and that's where companies are getting benefit for, not just labor substitution. I was checking the other day, I think early 2017, Jan, I think I was checking the Google search trend just for the word deep learning. So AI includes multiple words. You have machine learning, you have deep learning, and of course you have numeric data, you have text data, image data, and then video data, and then signal data, and all of that stuff too. There's a lot of research happening on all of these data components. What should I do? That's question I normally hear. One thing, again, I'm making a recommendation, and I see there is a need for organizations, is something called tipping point assessment. How much loss can you afford to have before you make a decision about AI? Sure, you can get away by not having AI, maybe another 6 months, maybe another year, or longer too. Then you will not be there, or the company will not be there to make a judgment or make a judgment decision. But every organization has to make a tipping point assessment. And then what it is, we can talk later. I'll not explain that right now, but some type of tipping point assessment has to be done for the organizations. And the first question you should answer when you're doing a tipping point assessment is why you want to do AI. There has to be a specific reason. Not because others are doing it. Maybe that's a good starting point too. But when it comes to real brass tacks, you got to understand why I'm doing. For example, maybe I know what the challenges are because we are geographically distributed, and hence it's not possible to get any more enhancements in the optimization. We are growing by acquisitions. We have so many companies in our umbrella. We got to do different way of making plans. Or do we have large projects in the organization? I've seen some of the erstwhile manufacturing companies, like television manufacturing, car manufacturing companies. They have this massive project. Okay, the new 2017 model car being done in one location, but then you have various components being developed in so many different parts of the world. Whatever is the reason or the logic, I think people need to be. And of course, there's some research done by MIT, and these are the predictions or expectations of various companies. Here is what it would be interesting. They did ask the executives of companies, okay, how much will be the effect of AI, whether it's a large effect today or a large effect in 5 years from now? Many of them, 20% of them said there is a large effect today. 20%, of course, but 60 to 70%, they said there will be a tremendously large effect in the next 4 or 5 years, and companies have to be prepared for that. Again, lots of information on the slide. I don't think your cell phones will be running out of battery. But there's a lot of research here done by Deloitte about. But what are the biggest problems of adoption? If I have to summarize the whole slide in one bullet, the lack of talent, availability of talent. People are not there who would guide in terms of strategically what needs to be done. We don't have solution architects who actually can design an AI model. You don't have programmers or individual contributors who actually can develop one, train one, and see how to make it happen. And then there is a lack of awareness even in terms of how to productionize the whole stuff. How much time do I have, Raka? Plenty of time? No, they don't have plenty of time. But never mind. Yeah, we lock the doors, right? So sorry, guys. Yeah. And please remember, don't invest AI. We don't invest in natural language processing. Don't invest in image processing. Invest in a business problem. So there has to be a definitive business problem that's driving the investments happening. Before I get into the real details about how to do it, and I'll not be able to do all the implementation details, how organizations can adopt AI in the organization and get the benefit. But one major problem is there is a chasm between the ambition and awareness. Companies want to do something, they want to get these benefits, but the awareness of how to do that, what does it take to do that, what type of talent, investment, training, people you need, and hence the gap between the two. There's a huge amount of gap between the ambition and awareness. And that would be the first point. If I go to an organization and I talk to people, I said, okay, what do you want to accomplish, and do you know how to even get it done? And that itself would be a good discussion, and then we'll talk about data and the lack of data and stuff. But the ambition versus awareness is a huge chasm in organizations. Again, there's lot of research done. That's like information there. You can get that. If you can go to MIT Sloan, this is the public information. There's nothing private about this. You can just go to this and get the information. But this is a huge report. And here is a checklist. I'll give a couple of seconds. Why don't you have a look at this? And if you want to pick any particular bullet, I can explain what it is. But this is a macro level checklist every organization has to use if they want to migrate to AI, if they want to really adopt AI in the organizations. I sneaked in take external help because just so that Digitalist can come in there, but I sneaked in that. But any question you have for any other bullets, please ask me. You know, if I don't hear much of the questions from the audience, normally there are two reasons why people don't have questions. One is I was so spectacular, so there are no questions. Or the other reason can be I just didn't make any sense. But either way, please go ahead and ask me any questions you have.
One is that you are in Finland.
Yeah, that's what people told me when I was in Sweden too. I said, yeah, people are a little shy and they won't ask questions. No. I think AI is one such thing. We can even figure out the shy quotient in you using AI. So you can ask me offline. I can tell you how to figure out how shy you are on a scale of 1 to 100. But anyway, any other? This was my favorite, actually, the Tay and Gorilla projects. But unless you have any questions, I won't talk about it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, like a lot of times, like when we discuss with our clients, the challenge that they have that there's always a lot of data, but it's not usable. The data, it's not clean up, and it's a bit of a mess, and it's not really helping the business.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, repeating it.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when we discuss with clients, the problem is that they don't have data. The problem is that they have a lot of data, but it's not usable format, and it's not directing the business that much.
Yeah. I know that's a comment, but it's not really a question, but I'll take it as a question. In any okay, so you don't want me to take it as a question? Oh, you want to take it as a question? Okay. I just want because I've been trained, like my wife also once in a while says something, and I don't know whether it's a question or a comment, and should I answer? So I'm getting constantly processing that. But anyway, okay. In any AI project, 80% of the effort goes into just processing the data. And when I say processing the data, verifying what data I need, where the data is located, is data accurate, complete, sparse, distributed, stored in some incompatible databases, and sometimes just purely missing data. Many organizations think that they have data. Going back to your point, you're right. The data either really not available or what you have is not the useful data. Now, in this, I want to introduce two different terms in AI. It's called machine learning and deep learning. Nowadays, the real AI geeks are more focused on the deep learning and not machine learning anymore, but even though machine learning is still has fantastic capability. In machine learning, you have so many techniques being used to identify or make sense from the data using a lot of the techniques. But when you use machine learning techniques, you got to do a lot of feature engineering. When you say feature engineering, you actually have to understand which data is going to have a better impact on the outcome of the model versus which data will not have an impact. In other words, the data scientist or the AI expert or machine learning expert has to look at the data, really play with the data, understand the data, digest the data, ask lots and lots of questions of the data to see which of these data is really useful for me. You cannot throw in all the data to the model because model in that case will not perform well. But the advantage of a deep learning model is there's no feature engineering to be done. You actually can just give any random data to the model and the model can still figure out, make sense in the process. And actually, deep learning techniques and deep learning models are actually more effective than machine learning. But the problem in the process is deep learning takes a lot more computing power and it also takes a lot more computational time. I'll give an example. I was working on creating machine translation model for text. So you actually have a text in, let's say, in English, and then you can translate that into any different language. So I was developing a Vietnamese to English language Don't ask me why I picked Vietnamese, but I picked Vietnamese. So I have Vietnamese and English, and I had a data set available for free. So I downloaded it and designed a model and ran it on my desktop. Not really a good idea. If you really want to do deep learning models, it has to be GPUs, which is on the cloud. And it ran for 60 hours. And of course, after 60 hours, thankfully, I did not make any error. So it did a good job, gave me an 82% accuracy rate, and it starts translating Vietnamese to English. And I know it's doing a good job, even though I don't know anything about Vietnamese, because I had human annotated sentences where someone actually looked at the Vietnamese sentences, a human being, and then gave an English translation. And then the model also translates. I can compare the English sentence from the model and the English sentence from the human being, and then know how good the model is. It was a decent effort, but 60 hours, you can't afford to have a similar exercise done in a company. For a model to take 60 hours, maybe unless you want to take a vacation, and you can always do that. Let the model start computing, and then you can take a vacation. But companies can't afford to have so much of delay. You need to have models which can get trained in maybe in an hour or two, because that's when it is. But there are real complicated products like the Google's machine translation product, which is actually available online if you want to really play around with. They have done that on using maybe I think 20, 30 GPUs, and it takes almost 2-3 weeks for compiling. But they could afford it, and they've done it. Anyway, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So thanks for an inspiring presentation.
I'm not done still, so there are a few more slides coming. Yeah, just a second. She said unlimited time, so anyway, sorry.
All right. So yeah, well, AI will obviously be a big business for consulting companies. That's quite obvious. What about if the company wants to take the road of building these competencies in-house? Where would you start?
If you want to do in-house, the first thing, of course, you need to have the talent. And if you already have the talent, AI people in the organization, you can do it. But then once the talent problem is addressed, the first thing goes back to you have to answer the question why you want to do AI. And some sort of a brainstorming, whiteboarding need to be done in terms of why am I doing, which areas I have problems. In other words, what are my challenges, or what are my use cases I'm going to be developing. And then the next immediate problem would be looking at the data. Do we have the data or not? So if you have the talent, you know why you're doing it, and you check for the use cases and the data. These are pretty much the minimum and most essential steps you need to do to start developing your own AI models. But there are so many other ancillary issues, like you have the lack of awareness across the organization. People are skeptic, or there are lots of myths about AI. You need to do the change management, communications. You may also have to relook at your infrastructure. Maybe you have to change some infrastructure. Let's say if you have been collecting data and storing it in certain locations, but now that AI wants you to store data or collect more types of data, so your data collection mechanisms may change, and then your engagement with third-party organizations in that process also may change. You will see, normally in any organization for any change management, executives are really bought into that first because they have met with other people, they've seen the media, and the ground level implementation people, I think they're very excited to do it because, yeah, something new and they can do it. It's the middle management, I call it as middle management black hole. There's a lot of worries about, okay, am I going to lose my job? Will I lose my power or budget or whatever it is? And do I need to learn something new? And by the time middle management, people like me, when people, even though I want to believe that I'm young, but my wife tells me I'm not young anymore. Middle management, it's too difficult to reskill at that process. So that's another issue companies have to focus on. And if you are a geographically distributed organization, you want to really think about, am I going to do a decentralized approach? Am I going to do a centralized approach? There's so many other questions too. But if you ignore all of those questions, those 4 fundamental things I think you can do to do it internally in the organization.
Are there, by the way, pre-cases, legal cases with labor unions? Okay. My question was, are there pre-cases, legal cases with labor unions you're aware of globally?
I personally am not aware of that, but I can research and find out. I don't find legal issues with unions in the United States or actually in Asia too. I think it's more of a European phenomena, but I can go back and find out. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Veli-Matti Väänä from AP Research. I think that maybe today we have only in Finland several events concerning AI and very generic level presentation. This was a very good and specific one. But I have a feeling and experience that we need in practice when we want to utilize AI one specific skill, and that mathematics. We need people who know, can use and understand and apply mathematics. What's your experience and feeling about that?
A couple of points. If you, let's say, have an AI project in the organization and you actually have a customer in the organization who's giving you the use cases, and then you have an AI expert who's designing the model. That AI expert or the machine learning expert, that person has to be machine learning, mathematics expert who actually can understand. If you allow me to use a specific mathematical term, in AI model designs, there's something called loss statement, LOSS, loss statement. You got to define a very accurate mathematical loss statement to figure out how the model can understand your data really, really fast. And hence, your machine learning expert has to be a mathematics person. But once the machine learning person decides on the architecture of the model, the development of the model, that is the actual programming part of it, can be real smart programmers available. They can be a little bit slightly aware of machine learning techniques, but they don't have to be really experts in that. So yes, if you look at a pyramid structure of, let's say, 10 people of a machine learning project, 1 or 2 people are mathematics people because they are ML experts, they are AI experts. They are the ones who are balancing between machine learning and deep learning, and they'll pick what the right loss statements are. They'll even pick the right machine learning tactics, like, for example, decision forest, support vector machines, or so many other techniques being used. They would need to know the mathematics. So, yeah, some people, I think, need to know the mathematics. And, I think we all forget mathematics over a period of time. But, yes. But you need only the 10th and 11th and 12th grade mathematics. So if you really were focusing on what your teacher was teaching you in 10th grade and 11th grade, I think it's still fine.
SK, a couple of minutes and then maybe a few more questions.
Okay, yeah. But I think I'll finish soon. The talent being a huge issue, and this I just picked up, even though this is more of a US-centered data about how people are quitting. People are moving all the time. Again, they're not moving from one company to an unknown company. They're actually, there is a research that there are only 50,000 machine learning experts in the world, and 90% of them work for these 5 or 6 major companies. I know I've not shown Baidu and a couple of other Chinese companies. There are Alibaba and Baidu, I think, another famous 2 companies which are doing, they have lots of investments happening in Silicon Valley too. But talent is a huge issue in the organizations. And the survey done by Kaggle in terms of what are the major obstacles for AI to adopt AI, dirty data, the lack of data or incomplete data is one major issue. Second, of course, is the talent, and of course, sometimes lack of management support or the budgets organizations need to. And again, you can find the survey results there on the slide. Okay, everyone talks about AI is the new electricity and new fire, but I want to make a new statement. Have you heard of lawnmowers? Yeah, here too, yeah. 1830 was the first time when a patent was issued for lawnmowers. 1830, almost 150 years ago. But I think lawnmower was the single major reason for the 620 billion sports industry. And AI will be the new lawnmower going forward. It will be impacting every industry. So next time when you actually quote about AI is electricity, you should also think about AI as the new lawnmower. Abraham Maslow, if you have heard of the name, that's his theory, and I want to add AI also in this somewhere. That's my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Yes, sir.
Hi, SK. Thanks a lot. Maybe we can applaud you first.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I have a very specific sort of a need for AI. I've been working with site and click rate optimization. So by far more than 0 point something %, I was able to improve numbers more significantly with some experiments. But I was noticing that it's very manual. And I've contacted some companies that would be promising to make, like, let's say that they would make several websites and then put in an evolutionary model, like that elements would be combined to see what generation would perform best.
A/B testing. That's called A/B testing.
Yeah. It's A/B testing and potentialized with AI, right? So I would ask, like, do you feel that this kind of optimization could be used also not only in e-commerce ready clients? Because it's so much easier to leverage with an e-commerce because you will see the numbers. Do you have some take on how to convince sites that are not only e-commerce?
You said click rate optimization. There can be an easy machine learning model that can figure out what's happening if you have been collecting some data about how you're positioning the ads and then how many clicks are going and what geographies and what type of people it's going to be done. That is actually a solved problem. Click rate optimization, positioning and placing the right ad at the right location, it's been solved. And expanding that problem statement to, let's say, any website or any e-commerce situation, you can define the problem statement and I would be able to give you a solution. But again, my major precondition and major suspicion in many such situations will be the data being collected or not. How comprehensive the data collection is. Many times, if it's a small time or a medium organization which they did not have the awareness and hence they never collected all the data, even though your ad exchange had that information, but you never actually got that information and stored it for yourself, and the ad exchange kept it for a while and then threw it away, then you have a problem. It's not just the variety of the data, but also the temporal aspect of the data. For how long have you been collecting, for over a period of what time? And what will be the time gap between every data point? Will it be every minute, every second, and every data, every week, and every month, every year? Can you have it for the last 4 or 5 years? That would be. You don't have to have 10 years data because I think the user habits are changing. So maybe I think last 2-3 years would be still fine. But again, my first suspicion and focus would be on data. And if once the data is fine, the rest would be quite easy after that. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any take on how to visualize data? My work is just to show that end part. And the better the data, the better, the more amazing the product. But what else is there?
Data visualization is not part of AI. Data visualization is more of a part of analytics and business intelligence areas. I would say BI, business intelligence and data analytics, is actually more of a precursor for AI. The visualization itself, we don't focus, at least in AI world, except the visualization is in terms of when the model is being developed, the AI model is being developed, we actually want to see how the model is developed. And I want to watch the loss rate, the accuracy rates and all of that stuff. But we don't really start looking at the data anymore because that's exactly the job of the model. And we are designing the model itself to look at the data. So we don't visualize the data at all if the data comes in. But if it's a machine learning activity and I want to look at the data to see, do I have the complete data? In that process, when I want to see, okay, do I have the weekly data? Do I have the monthly data? Do I have all types of customers? Do I have gender-specific information? Do I have age-distributed information in this? So is the data balanced enough or not? In that process, I may do a little bit of analytics in terms of histograms and pictures and graphs and distribution lists. All of those things I'll create, but that's only to check how good the data is. Once the data is, if once we certify the data is good, we don't need to visualize because the model can take care of that.